All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er video as Black Monday has arrived. Welcome to Monday, January the 5th. The first Monday after the NFL regular season comes to an end is referred to as Black Monday. And sure enough, there were lots of guys getting fired around the league. And it does impact the 49ers. So we'll talk about all of it right here. And of course, check out Pig and a Pickle, 2 locations, Emeryville and Corte Madera, a third on the way in Petaluma in 2026. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. All right. The current NFL landscape, as far as head coach openings, the Giants, the Titans, the Falcons, the Cardinals, the Browns, the Raiders are all looking for new head coaches. The Dolphins and the Falcons are also looking for new general managers. So Brian Daboll out with New York. Kafka was the interim. Titans fired their coach in the middle of the year, and their interim coach is not going to be their long-term coach. Raheem Morris was dumped. Jonathan Gannon was dumped. Kevin Stefanski was dumped. Pete Carroll was dumped. So you've got those 6 teams right now looking for head coaches. And you also have the Dolphins and the Falcons looking for general managers. So very interesting development here on a Monday for sure. It's interesting because how does it impact the Niners? Well, the Dolphins have requested a GM interview with both Josh Williams and Tariq Ahmad. Williams is currently the 49ers director of scouting and football operations. He's also a friend and a former SI Wildcat. Go Cats, get them Cats, go get them Cats. The Dolphins have also requested to talk to the Niners VP of player personnel, Tariq Ahmad, for their GM opening. So both Williams and Ahmad could be leaving John Lynch's staff for a new gig if the Dolphins say, absolutely, we want you. So couple other notes today. The 49ers have $50 million in cap room, according to Spot Track, for the upcoming 2026 season. What does it all mean? We'll find out in time. The Niners' big problem going into the playoffs, they've got multiple big problems, but one of them is they have no pass rush. 49ers wound up with 20 sacks. It's a franchise new low for a season. The Niners finished the year with just 20 sacks as a defense. So not counting the 82 strike shortened season, that's tied for the 4th fewest by a playoff team in the Super Bowl era. So for the 49ers to win 12 games and make it to the playoffs with absolutely zero pass rush is really quite remarkable. Cleve Farrell winds up leading them in sacks on the year with 4. Bryce Huff also had 4. Those guys were tied. Sam Aquinu had 3. Nick Bosa, who didn't play basically all year, had 2 early sacks. He's technically 4th on their list as far as sacks for the year. So the Niners now off to Philly, where they will take on the Eagles Sunday at 1:30 Pacific, 4:30 Eastern. Niners have opened as a 3-point underdog against the Eagles, according to the odds makers. The big problem I see with the 49ers right now is that they can't stop the run, and their linebackers are absolutely getting torched. Tatum Bethune is hurt. D. Winters is hurt. Their backup linebackers are all just special teamers. The Niners linebackers allowed 126 of the 198 passing yards against the Seahawks. It was all against the Niners linebackers. Bethune allowed 78 yards and a 113 passer rating when he was targeted. Garrett Wallow had a 97.9 passer rating when he was targeted. D. Winters gave up 17 yards. He had a 79.2 passer rating when targeted. Eric Kendricks had a 79.2 passer rating when targeted. The Niner linebackers are either, backups or special teamers. They don't have a future starter that they can put out there. The days of Azeez Al-Shaair ready to trot in as a reserve, those days have come and gone. One guy who was awesome this week was Upton Stout. 14 coverage snaps. He only allowed 2 yards, didn't allow a touchdown, had a 90.4 coverage grade. Stout played really, really well as the slot corner. Austin Pleasant's filling in for Trent Williams. Wasn't great, but he wasn't awful. 32 pass blocking opportunities. He did allow 3 pressures, including the one at the end of the game where, Brock Purdy got smoked on that last hit. That was Pleasant's guy that hit Purdy. But 0 sacks allowed for the day, a 95.3 pass blocking efficiency grade. So So there you go. Really, it's as simple as that. And the 49er defense missed way too many tackles. 18 missed tackles against the Seahawks. 5 for Bethune, 3 from Mustafa, 2 from Brown, 2 from Winters, 2 from Lenore. Niners had 18 missed tackles. Seattle had 3. Once again, the Niners had 18 missed tackles. Seattle had 3. Niners generated only 16 pressures and had 2 sacks. Sam Aquinu had 4 of the pressures. Keon White had 4 of the pressures. Bryce Huff had 3 of the pressures. Everybody else had 1. So those are the guys that are getting it done up front for the most part are Keon White, Bryce Huff, and Sam Aquinu. The Niners offensive line, as far as pressures allowed, Dom Pooney allowed 0, Pleasance 3, Brendel 3, McKivitz and Burford 4 each. The Niners offensive line got worked all night long by the Seahawk defensive line, and that was one of the major factors in the game. Highest graded 49ers on defense, Upton Stout, Jason Pinnock, and Sam Aquinu. Lowest graded Niners on defense, Tatum Bethune, Kalia Davis, Garrett Wallow. Highest graded 49ers on offense, Dom Pooney, Brock Purdy, Brian Robinson. Lowest graded 49ers on offense, Austin Pleasant, Spencer Burford, Luke Farrell. Big question going into this next game is what's the status of D. Winters and Tatum Bethune? You saw that Garrett Wallow and Eric Kendricks are just way out over their skis and overwhelmed if they're asked to start. Winters got an ankle injury. Bethune's got a groin injury. Shanahan says those injuries could linger into this game. Bad news for the Niners. Brock Purdy got a stinger at the end of the game. He would have returned to the game according to Shanahan, but obviously the game was over. As far as the final strength of schedule, the Niners' final strength of schedule was 0.498. It wasn't great, but it's not even close to the worst in the league. Playoff teams with a worse strength of schedule this year include Philly, Chicago, Green Bay, New England, Denver, Jacksonville, Buffalo, and the LA Chargers. And Seattle was identical, by the way, at 498 win percentage. As far as what's this route going to look like, well, if the Niners could beat Philly in the divisional round, they're either going to play at Seattle, most likely, or it could be Carolina, or it could be the Rams. And then if they get to the NFC Championship game, it could be at Seattle, it could be at Chicago, it could be at LA, it could be at Carolina, or it could be home against the Green Bay Packers, who are the 7th seed if the Packers get all the way through. The NFC West, first division ever with 3 teams with 12-plus wins, tells you how good the division was this year. The Niners badly need Trent Williams back. They're 4-13 when he's out of the lineup since he showed up in 2020. They average 19 points a game in those games and 26 points a game when he plays. So he means about a touchdown a game. Seattle, by the way, just ran right through the Niners defense early. People saying, oh, it wasn't the defense. Really? Seattle on their first 13 carries rushed for 99 yards. They ran 39 times for 180 yards. And, by the end of the game, I mean, you're looking at Kendricks and Wallow, and it was brutal. So, we'll see. There were some 3 key plays in the second half of the game that kind of got away from the Niners. The Eagles are an awful lot like Seattle. They can run the ball. They got a great offensive line. Barkley's a 1,000-yard rusher. Jalen Hurts has 421 rush yards. That ranks 5th among quarterbacks. They're going to run the ball. They're going to try to run the ball right at the Niners and try to run it down their throat. By the way, if you're feeling bad today about how good Seattle looked and how bad the Niners looked, maybe you can take solace in this. Seattle's 10-0 at home in the playoffs since 2005. They've reached the Super Bowl 3 times and 3 chances as the top seed, something like that. And according to the playoff odds, the Niners have a 3.2% chance of winning the NFC and going to the Super Bowl. They have a 1.6% chance of winning the Super Bowl. But Seattle's just a really good team. They they finished the season ranked number 1 in overall DVOA and defense. 4 of the 5 previous teams to do that won the Super Bowl. So overall, they were number 1. Offense, they were 10th. Defense, they were 1st. Special teams, they were 2nd. Passing offense, 5th. Rushing offense, 14th. Pass defense, number 1. Rush defense, number 1. The last team that had this profile, won the Super Bowl. 4 of the previous 5 teams to have this profile have won the Super Bowl. So Seattle's really good. They're really good, and they're rolling. And right now you'd have to consider them the favorite. to win the Super Bowl. All right, Jonathan Gannon's out in Arizona. Monty Ossenfort, for whatever reason, kept his job. There was one observation on that whole thing. It was like, how many mediocre GMs kept their job while the head coach got dumped? Very bizarre, very bizarre. But, I mean, it just kind of shows that somebody needs to lead the search, and it's easy to have the GM there lead the search. We'll see if these GMs, when the coaches get hired, retain their jobs, or if they just lead the search for their potential successor, an eventual successor. So I did find that interesting. There's a bunch of openings. I bet you the Niners will lose some coaches. They'll lose some front office people. It's just the nature of the beast. They pick from the best organizations, and the Niners are considered one of the best organizations. All right, that is going to do it. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. We should also say thanks to our sponsor, Sleeper. Thanks to Sleeper for sponsoring the Krug Show. 49er football season is presented by Sleeper, the fastest growing fantasy platform in the world. It's a one-stop shop. You get blazing fast news, real-time stats, group chats, season-long leagues, and, of course, Sleeper picks for daily fantasy. Use promo code Larry, and Sleeper will match your first deposit up to $100. Links in the description. Terms and conditions do apply. And special thanks, because we are off to Philly at the end of the week, courtesy of Claw Daddy Arcades. And they're a great follow on Instagram at Claw_Daddy_Arcades to find a location near you. They have brand new locations open at Capitola Mall as well as Visalia Mall, 7 locations in California. When you stop in, tell them that Larry Krueger sent you. Big thanks to Claw Daddy Arcades for supporting the Krug Show's trip to Philly for the wild card game. And thanks to all of you guys for supporting the Krug Show on YouTube,